All right, let's get straight to it. We're diving into the very latest PortalFuse Weekly KB Update Report, specifically that out-of-band update, the one that dropped May 19th, 2025. Our goal today is really to give you, our fellow Microsoft Intune administrators, a focused breakdown. All the critical intel inside KB Report 2025-0520.md.
Exactly. And, while the full report probably covers more, today we're really locking onto just one KB article, but it's a significant one concerning multi-OS updates.
Okay, so this multi-OS update, it's all about KB 5061768. And the fact it's out of band, well, that immediately tells us something, right? This isn't just routine stuff.
Precisely. Yeah, an out-of-band update, it generally signals that Microsoft sees this issue as critical, needs a release outside the usual monthly rhythm. So in this case, KB 5061768, it's targeting Windows 10 Enterprise LTSC 2021, the IoT Enterprise LTSC 2021 version, and Windows 10 22H2.
Okay.
Release May 19th. And its goal is twofold: fix critical security problems and also roll out some quality improvements. So yeah, for those managing endpoints, this likely needs pretty immediate attention.
Might need to shift the schedule a bit.
Could well do.
And it includes the latest servicing stack update too, KB 5058526. Why is that SSU inclusion particularly relevant here?
The SSU. Well, it's kind of fundamental for the stability of the whole update process itself, KB 5058526 specifically aims to make that whole foundation more reliable, which is always good news. And thinking longer term, with Windows 10 support ending, October 2025?
Right, it's getting closer.
Exactly. So making sure the update mechanism is solid for these last few months is pretty important. It helps keep things stable during that transition. Plus, not having a recent SSU can cause headaches down the line with other updates.
Okay, now for the really interesting bit. The report mentions a critical vulnerability tied to Intel Trusted Execution Technology, TXT. Can you break that down?
Yeah, this is quite specific. It affects devices that have Intel TXT enabled, but only on 10th generation or later Intel vPro processors.
Okay, so a specific hardware subset.
A very specific subset. And the impact, it's serious. It could unexpectedly terminate the local security authority subsystem service. LSASS.
Oh, LSASS termination. That's not good.
Not good at all. LSASS failing basically breaks authentication. Users can't log in. Services might fail. It can really halt things. So yeah, this out-of-band release, it needs quick attention. LSASS is core to security policy enforcement.
And the report suggests this problem, it might pop up after installing the May 13th security update, KB 5058379. So is this OOB update essentially fixing a problem caused by the last update?
Well, it certainly looks that way. Exactly. It just highlights how complex these interactions can be sometimes, KB 5058379 fixed its own things, but seems to have unintentionally caused this instability on these specific Intel configurations. So think of the May 13th update making a change, and on these specific systems, that change created a conflict. KB 5061768 is the targeted fix for that specific conflict.
Right, okay. So beyond fixing that critical LSASS issue, the update also brings general improvements via that SSU, KB 5058526. We mentioned reliability, but any other sort of nuances for us Intune admins with SSUs like this?
Well, the main benefit of an up-to-date SSU is really that improved resilience and stability for the whole update pipeline. Fewer installation failures, hopefully a more stable system afterwards. The specifics for KB 5058526 aren't detailed here, but generally these SSUs just make sure the system is ready to take future updates successfully, which, like we said, is pretty crucial with the Win 10 end of life coming up.
Gotcha. The report also lists a bug fix, again mentioning the LSASS termination, but it labels it medium impact, while the vulnerability section calls the underlying issue critical. How should we read that? Seems a bit contradictory.
Yeah, that's a fair question. The medium impact likely refers to the immediate effect of applying this fix. You apply it, it stops the LSASS crashes, so the positive impact on stability is, well, medium perhaps. But, and this is the key thing, it fixes a problem that could have critical consequences if you didn't fix it. So applying KB 5061768 might feel like just stabilizing things, but it's actually addressing a really serious underlying risk.
Okay, that makes sense. Sort of the impact of the fix versus the impact of the problem.
Exactly.
All right, shifting gears slightly. Known issues. There's this Noto fonts issue mentioned. Sounds less critical maybe, but still something that could cause help desk calls.
Yeah, potentially. The Noto fonts issue, it's about how CJK text that's Chinese, Japanese, Korean looks in Chromium browsers, like Edge or Chrome.
Okay.
If your display is set to 96 dpi, that text might look blurry or kind of unclear. And the report says this could affect, well, basically anyone using those browsers at that resolution.
So not tied to specific hardware this time, just DPI and browser choice. What's the workaround?
The suggestions are pretty simple, thankfully. Just increase the display scaling in Windows. Setting it to 125% or maybe 150% seems to clear up the text.
Okay, a display setting tweak.
Yeah, for now. The report does mention looking for more info from Microsoft, so maybe a more permanent fix is coming, or more details at least.
Right. Now, deployment. This is where it gets a bit different for this update. It's not on Windows Update, not WUFB, not even WSUS. The report says only the Microsoft Update catalog. What does that mean practically for us?
That's a really important detail for Intune admins, yeah. Because it's only in the catalog, your standard automatic update policies in Intune. They won't pick this up.
Ah,
So you'll need to actively go to the Microsoft Update catalog, download the standalone package, the .mcu file,
okay.
and then you've got to deploy it using Intune. Maybe package it as a Win32 app or use whatever third-party patching tool you might have integrated. It definitely requires manual steps outside the normal flow.
So extra work involved there.
Good heads up. Definitely something to factor in.
Finally, CVEs. The report explicitly says there are no new CVEs with this specific update. It seems a bit odd, given it's fixing a critical vulnerability.
It does seem a bit unusual on the surface, yeah. But there are a couple of possibilities. It could be that the original vulnerability, the one KB5058379, maybe triggered on those Intel systems, was already covered by a CVE from that May 13th update.
I see. So this is just fixing a symptom of an already documented CVE.
Potentially, yes. In that case, KB5061768 is just the fix for that specific manifestation, not a whole new vulnerability itself. Or it's possible Microsoft is just handling this particular fix internally without assigning a brand new CVE right now. That sometimes happens with targeted fixes for recent issues.
Okay, plausible explanations. So let's quickly wrap up this deep dive on the May 20th report. We focused on that out-of-band update, KB5061768. Key takeaway: it fixes that critical LSASS termination issue hitting specific Intel vPro systems with TXT, apparently triggered by the previous month's update.
Right, and it bundles in the latest SSU, KB588526, for better update reliability overall.
We also touched on that Noto font's visual glitch in Chromium browsers as a known issue, with display scaling as the workaround for now.
And critically, remember this update is only in the Microsoft Update catalog. Needs manual download and deployment via Intune.
Definitely. It really underscores, how tricky managing updates can get with all these hardware-specific issues popping up. It needs constant vigilance, especially with these out-of-band releases. So maybe something to think about. How is this growing complexity, especially around processor-specific vulnerabilities, changing how you approach patch management strategy in your environment? Something to mull over.